You may be seated. In the matter of the state of Texas versus Herman Hoffman and Kathleen Hoffman, statute says that cruelty treated includes torture, seriously overworked, unreasonably abandoned, unreasonably deprived of food, care, shelter, cruelly confined, or caused to fight with another animal. Based on the testimony that we've heard here today, I believe the state's met the burden of proof with the preponderance of evidence. I therefore find that the owner, Herman Hoffman and Kathleen Hoffman, cruelly treated the animals, and we are going to drop an order seizing those animals, as we've already have. We're going to divest the ownership of these animals from Mr. and Mrs. Hoffman and order that they be given to the SPCA. The appeal bond for this, I agree with you, Mr. Hoffman. The bond should be per animal, and so the bond per animal is going to be $1,000. And that's the finding of the court.
Your Honor, what about the horses that were not owned by me that have been seized?
Did you bring any proof today showing that they weren't owned by you?
I was told I couldn't.
Why
I
not?
was told that was another issue.
Okay, so your testimony is that there are animals that were seized on the property that do not belong to you?
Yes, and they have bills of sales, and they have money that they were paid for.
Your Honor, there's no proof of that. The case is closed. He rests. There's no evidence of that.
I would agree.
Judge, you may address one issue.
Yes, sir.
Carry out every night, going around and checking what everybody didn't do, and then they come in and say, oh, it's your fault. If you're an employee for somebody and you don't do your job, you're to blame. I am to carry the weight that I kept checking. Maybe I should have fired my help and got more. I mean, it comes down to that. If our world has come down to that an employee does something wrong and the owner of the business goes to jail and gets persecuted for it, we have a lot of problems in our society other than just feeding horses.
How many of those horses are you going to try to get back via the bond?
I don't know. We'll see how much money you got for me.
How do you emotionally feel right now after all this?
I'm not a lawyer. I did my best. And my lawyers that I had were not available for today. Emotionally, I fought as hard as I could, so I feel pretty tired. But I did what I could. I'm still looking at my horses standing there that didn't get fed the day before and everything else that I'm not allowed to touch. And I'm exactly in the same boat when my employees didn't feed them. I have other people not feeding them now. I just want them taken care of. The ones I can bond and take care of, I will, and I will follow this until it goes to the United States Supreme Court, because I believe what I presented is the law. And I believe the law hasn't been handled exactly the way it should. So my conviction is, if you don't believe in what you're doing, and if you don't stand up for it, you don't have a right to complain. And that's where I'm at.
Do you think you could have taken care of the animals better?
You always can do something better. Could you raise your child better? Could you take care of your dog better? Could you do your job better? There's always better to something. But do you have somebody jump on you and pounce on you and just keep pouncing and pouncing and pouncing and say, we're going to destroy you? It don't make your job any easier. If somebody takes a dislike to you and says, we're going to take and run you out of your job, and every day you wake up and somebody's just sending you a message, calling you on the phone, threatening your life, after a while your life becomes consumed with just doing your work. And that's not a way for anybody to live, but that's the way internet trolls do in this world on Facebook. Our social media is the real crime here, and it runs rampant, and nobody cares about social media. That's how everybody makes their living, reporting bad things, remember? The news every night, the blonde, there you go. So it is the problem, but nobody addressed how this problem happened.
Can you recover from this?
I always recover. I didn't make it to 64 years old without being tough.
Mr. Hoffman, what about the difference between, you mentioned between livestock and pets. If this were back years and years ago, back still livestock, how do you think it would be any different?
If we were 2 counties north, I wouldn't be here. If I was 1 county in Houston, I'd be worse. Society has now tried to move horses from livestock into personal pets. There's a whole industry in our world that deals on personal pets. Let's see, the feed industry, the veterinarian industry, SPCA makes their living off of pets. This is what is wrong. Horses are livestock. Cows are livestock. First we lose our horses to livestock, the next thing we're going to lose our cows to livestock. This is what's wrong. The court in Texas, the judicial system, has not defined torture, cruelty, or mistreating animals. It's only a word, and it's one man's impression. The judge's impression was, that's what it was. And the judge knew, probably in the bottom of his heart, that I would appeal it. I didn't go through all of this and spend my life raising horses and doing it. This is my dream of horses. So I've done everything I can. And yes, you can always do it better. If you can't do it better, you're perfect. If you're perfect, walk away and quit. There's nothing to accomplish. So yes, there are things that can be done, but livestock is livestock, and horses are under Texas code. They're livestock. So we should handle them that way. Thank y'all.
I think you're getting the, I think you're getting the back of my head, but
Yeah. What do you think about today?
I am very pleased with the outcome of this case. One thing that's I think is regrettable, we never had to be here. And Mr. Hoffman and Ms. Hoffman have had approximately 8 months to just take care of business, just follow the recommendations of what the constable's office was asking that they do. And if they'd have merely done that and cooperated, I mean, y'all saw the pictures in court. You see the conditions of these animals, some very, very deplorable conditions that the animals are in. But I think this is the only right and just outcome, and I think that's what the judge saw when it was today. So we're very, very pleased with the outcome, and I was pleased that the proceeding went on as long as it did. I think Mr. Hoffman, Ms. Hoffman were treated very fairly, certainly had their day in court today. But for the protection of these animals, I'm glad we are where we are.
What comes next?
Well, as has been indicated, I think Mr. Hoffman, they will be appealing the case. And as you heard, he has to put up an appeal bond of $1,000 per animal. So if he's going to appeal this case as to all the animals, it'd be a $200,000 bond. So my office will have a judgment prepared, and we'll have that to the court first thing in the morning. He's got 10 days to appeal the case. And then after that, this court has 5 days to get that, all the information, get all the record to the Illagota County Court at Law Number 2. And then a trial must be held within 10 days of that. So that's why we put on evidence of what it's going to cost the county or cost SPCA to feed and house and everything these animals for the next 25 days. And then he's entitled to a trial on the case in County Court 2. That outcome, that ends it. You get one shot at appeal, and that's it.
Which county court will hear that?
That'll be County Court Law Number 2, Judge Laird.
Spell your name for me.
They need a lot more than that.
Did he know about that? Was he aware that this horse was in trouble?
Yes, we told them over and over again, Mom was not producing any milk, and we needed to move him so we could take care of him and give him the right stuff he needed.
What was his response?
Just leave him there. And then at the very end, Kathy would tell us to put a bucket of milk out there for him. That's not going to do anything. He's not going to drink it. Mom's going to be like, I don't know what that is, don't drink it. He's going to listen to Mom.
Who came to the rescue?
The 3 of us girls who left gave him to Crystal, and she's the one who rescued him and took him straight to the vet.
Would you say and spell your name for us so we get it right?
Cassandra, Cassandra, Dicken, Dicken.
And you're a former employer.
Yes.
You said you worked there 5 months?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this entire case and the whole accusations of cruelty?
They are.
The lack of care take place from what you saw, were they in bad shape from the moment you started working there?
Yes. From the first day I had ever started, they all were very skinny. They weren't getting any grain. They all needed help.
When was that? Tell us the day you came to work and the day you left.
The first day I started was February 20th, 2015, and then June 20th.
And
was my last day.
you were let go, you were fired, is that correct?
Yes.
Why did they let you go?
I was told I was a disrespectful little girl, and he wasn't gonna put up with that anymore.
Did you ever get paid for something?
A few times. I'm owed quite a lot of money.
But that's not one of
It has nothing to do with that. It's all about the horses and taking care of them.
What were the feelings being out there? I had horses myself. What was it like to see him in that state?
It was heartbreaking. It really, truly was. Growing up around horses and knowing what they're supposed to look like and seeing their skin and bones, no matter how old they are, they should not look like that.
Thank you so much. I
What are you
appreciate
doing
it.
now for a living?
Nothing right now. I'm still looking for a job.
And how old are you?
I'm 19.
19?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good talking to you.
Thank you.
Since ownership has been vested, will you provide or allow SPCA additional 7 days to get those remaining, I believe, 100 or so horses off the property?
Absolutely. Is it 7 days enough?
I think 7 days is enough, and I think Constable's office also is going to have to have 24/7 surveillance on the property, just to make sure the Hoffmans don't interfere with SPCA's removal of the horses. And I think 7 days is a good time to get all that done, and for them to be able to man and control.
Yes, and that seizure order is already in place, correct?
They've been seized, yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, yes, that will be the ruling of the court.
Your Honor, since they're using my property, compensation to the people who own their own horses get them there? Or am I paid compensation for my land and,
I think, no, sir. I mean, I took into consideration your arguments, and this bond could be $600,000.
I understand that, but each horse is $1,000 bond?
Yes, sir. And that's what I kept in mind, your testimony about the cost and so forth.
When do we get a list of what they removed?
That will,
And how many days do we have to post the bond?
the posting of the bond has to happen in 10 days.
10 days from today or tomorrow?
Yeah.
10 days from tomorrow?
It always goes to.
And we
the
do
next
it at
day.
your court?
Absolutely.
Okay. And will we get the list of the animals first before we have to post our bond?
I think that as part of the appeal process, that'll be something that you can request a discovery and so
So
forth.
how do we post a bond for something that they say they don't have?
We'll have a list.
When will I get the list to go through and go bond, 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 bond?
Well, the list is already compiled, and it's gonna be $1,000 per animal.
Yes, but I can pick and choose which animals.
No, I'm setting the bond for $1,000 for each animal.
And they're each held individually as animals, not as a whole.
$1,000.
Okay, so if I want to do 50, I can do 50. They're each individual.
Correct.
But I need the list of the animals that have been taken so we can identify them and look at them before we pay a bond.
I didn't hear all of it, Your Honor, but if
the question is, could he, you know,
I'm setting,
per animal?
I'm setting it $1,000 per animal,
Per animal.
and that'll be $200,000.
Each animal's not handled individually then. You're just coming up with, it was read to you that it was per animal individually.
And that's how I came up with the $200,000. Because they were, the state,
It says individually.
the state was wanting $630,000.
I understand the dollar amount, but as the statute said, it, they're handled as individual animals, not as a herd.
And Your Honor, we don't have a problem with, if he wants to appeal just a part of it. It would certainly be final after whichever ones he doesn't appeal, so
That's
that's not a
fine.
problem
If
for
I
us.
can do part of them or choose, that's fine. But I just need to know when I get the list and where I can make sure they're of quality still.
Well, I understand that, I would
I have no,
expect you would.
I'm not gonna get mad at anybody, I just need the list, you know.
And Your Honor, there's various ways to get the list. I would just say, I would think he would have some type of inventory of his own animals.
Well, I just want to
To be
go
able
and
to
look at
compare.
them before I say, pay the bond on that one,
Well, I understand.
and make sure I know
Just give us
where
a call
they're
and
at.
we'll try and arrange it.
Do I deal with you on that, or who?
Yeah.
I'll get with you and.
What is your name?
BD Griffin, I'll get with you, I'll give you my card as well as the other cards.
That's fine.
Just go to the county attorney's office.
With you, I know, yes.
I'll deal with you.
Yeah, and then we'll just do it tomorrow?
We
We'll
certainly
have
don't
the
a problem.
judgment, we'll have the judgment finalized by tomorrow morning.
You guys bring it by, you know where I'm at. If you want to.
Well, it'll be signed by me.
Okay. I mean, you bring everything else by to me, so come on by.
I'll get with you and it will help to have
And
your
we can
email
go
or
through
whatever.
individually and do what we need to on individual animals then.
If they're not opposed to that, I'm not opposed.
That's great. And we can continue this through the process, and I have no problem with it. I just want to have the list, and I can go through, and if this one's down there, I'll go with you and go look at it, that's fine. If it's out in the field, we'll go look at them or what. I just want to see the animals so we can identify the list by their names, not just bay horse, okay? So we have to have a way to identify the ones that we're bonding.
I don't think we're gonna have any way to know the names of your horses.
We'll know, but you take a picture and we put it with it, then we know what we're talking about.
And also about 100 of them, half of the herd.
I think we can work out a mechanism
Well,
whereby.
I know. I'm
if
worried
we
about
want
the ones
to
that
give
left.
Just partial list, Your Honor, we'll be able to make sure we're on the same page.
We can identify them, and I know which one's Jake, and don't know which one's Jake after we take a picture and identify Jake, that's fine.
All right.
I have no problems, no animosity, no
So,
nothing.
just,
Was there a judgment as to the cost of care of the horses for the 6 days from the time they were seized to this date?
yes, and that number was $122,254.87.
Yes, Judge.
Yeah, so that's the cost that we'll issue the judgment on as far as the cost up till today.
Thank
And
you,
we'll
Judge.
also do an appeal on that too, so that's all right.
Okay? So everybody know what we're doing?
Fine, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you all very much for your time.
All rise.
I tried to do my best on all of it. You did fine. No, quite. It's something. No, that's fine. Thank you very much. And then you just, when you get the order and stuff, you know where that, come see me, call, I'll meet you there.
I'll email you a draft. He said, we'll prepare it, and he'll sign it, and I'll send you a draft of it.
And then when he signs it, we have 10 days, right?
Yes.
Sign it tomorrow, it'll be 10
When he
days.
signs it,
Starting
oh, it might rain a little bit, who knows? Even if we bond. If they bond them, don't they stay with us? That cuts the bills and everything.
I understand. We'll talk about that.
See if you do it, if we keep them there, I don't care if you come out, you can come out, bring them a cup of coffee, my wife, that's where I didn't want them. It doesn't want my car. You won't be out there. Work with you tomorrow, okay? All right, thank you, bye-bye.